Republic Chemical Industries, the company behind Mighty Bond and Epoxy, hit a milestone last year with revenues reaching a record 2 billion pesos. We sat down with its boss to talk about the 58-year-old company's game plan, not just in the Philippines, but in the Asia-Pacific region. Good to have you with us, John. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kathy. It's lovely to be here.
So Republic Chemicals is all about Mighty Bond and epoxies. I mean, this is do-it-yourself and fix-it. I mean, it's stuff I grew up with.
Well, that's great to hear. I mean, I think our products touch almost everybody's lives in day-to-day fixing and repairing of household objects.
Just keep everything sticking together. So how did you get into this business? Of all things, adhesive.
Of all things, you know, I guess I have to attribute that to my father. He started the business 58 years ago with some of his other associates, and one of them was a chemist, a Fulbright scholar at that, and gave him all sorts of ideas about what to do with chemistry and to make finished products in the form of adhesives.
58 years, and he's been in the military, and he got into business. I mean, how did that all work out, and how did you grow in that setup?
Well, I tell you, my dad was a hell of an entrepreneur when he started out. In college, he was... You know, they wrote in his yearbook that he was the guy most destined to succeed. In school, he designed the first college yearbook, the first college ring. He had little businesses throughout the campus selling ice cream and things like this, and was already involved with the stock market, to the extent that his parents thought that he was making money illegally somehow because he was earning so much from the stock market. So he had this business mindset. So when he came out of the military service, where he was involved with the Pacific Campaign to liberate the Philippines, he saw the potential here. And with that business background and seeing the potential, he started several businesses.
One of them is Republic Chemicals, and it is a local brand. I mean, you make the stuff here, the adhesives, and then you sell them to the ASEAN market, including Australia, New Zealand, and even the U.S. So what is the focus? Is it more local or global for Republic Chemicals?
You know, we're so proud of what we've been able to do. Clearly our focus is to continue to dominate the local market. We have a dominant position here, and that has given us the strength and the wherewithal to go overseas. And we've expanded our markets to include Southeast Asia. We now go as far as India. And we make adhesives for some of the largest brands in the first world. So our quality is accepted and approved by them through their audits, and they love us for being able to deliver completely and fully on time.
You go as far as India, but what about China? That's nearer to us geographically.
Well,
what's the business there in China for Republic Chemicals?
That's true. China is not so much part of our market just yet. Of course, they've got tons of manufacturing going on in that country, and there's a lot of very inexpensive processing that goes on there. So we've tried to focus in areas with a little bit more of an opening for our products. Actually, frankly, China has not interested us just immediately offhand. So what we would probably look at would be more of construction-related products for China. We have a very broad range of construction chemicals, and since they are still in the mode of building to some extent, we would probably participate in that regard.
What about for Indonesia? We didn't have to go very far. The ASEAN space itself presents a lot of opportunities. The consumer base is so much bigger in Indonesia next to the Philippines. So what are the plans in the ASEAN as the economic community gets together?
Oh, well, that's where the exciting part is, right? Indonesia is 3 times the size of the Philippines as far as market. India further on is 10 times our size, and we're extremely excited about these markets, to the extent that we've been doing very well in these markets for over 15 years. And this year we opened an office in Indonesia with Filipino staff and local staff, as well as an office in India. So in many respects, we can be considered a Filipino multinational company in the adhesive industry.
But is the focus still exporting your products, or bringing it closer to the markets you operate in, like Indonesia, setting up your own manufacturing site there, as well as in India?
Well, that's certainly in the cards, right? As soon as we get a little bit more critical mass, and Indonesia is ahead of India, and it looks like we could be doing some processing there in as early as 3 years from now. And same with India, because India can really blossom quite quickly, especially when you have the right partners on the ground. I think that's one of the key important subject matters that make for success, is having good local partners.
And how many jobs are we thinking of in the next 3 years? And are these Filipino jobs manning your operations in Indonesia and India?
Well, we have a few token Filipino managers there, but most of them are locals because we're relying on that knowledge about the marketplace. And we're looking at a lot of folks that are already experienced in this field, right? And our Philippine workforce has jumped by a good 30% this year in anticipation of this high growth that we're looking for.
30%, so how many jobs were created then?
Oh, we created about 60 new jobs this year. And this is all in build-up for our vision to double the size of our business over the next 2 years.
At a time when the peso is seeing some volatile swings?
Well, it's the yin and the yang, right? Because we both export and import. But since predominantly our business is domestically, a strong peso just helps us, right? So we're pleased about that, and overseas we just do the best we can with the exchange rate and just keep going, because you never know, at the next turn of events it could be the reverse, where the peso gets weaker and the dollar is stronger.
And as you're hitting 60 years, you want to reach a milestone here that you haven't done before. It's the first chemical-based company, and you want to follow green standards. We are so proud of the production processes that we employ at Republic to produce our products. About 12% of our energy is supplied by solar power, renewable energy. And my brother Peter Spakowski, one of our directors, was such a passionate environmentalist that he was instrumental in installing 400 photovoltaic cells on our roof, providing 100 kilowatts of power to our firm. And we're very proud to be the first in our industry, and probably in several industries, that is using solar power in a big way to produce our products. We hope that by taking an environmental and green stand, that will help us be a more appealing supplier to most of our customers, especially the young. Succession. You're approaching 60 years, and you've just been installed as chairman in the past year. What's in the planning? Because you're not a listed company, you have no plans of listing at the exchange. What are you up for now in the next 10, 20 years? Who's going to helm up the company? Well, those are great questions, because I'm also moving on. I ponder that issue quite a bit. One of the good things that we've done so far is really we put together a great team. Aside from being a family-oriented company, we have professionalized the organization. And so all of the members below me are very competent professionals that can easily move the company forward into the next generations. Aside from that, though, I have 2 children, and they are somehow, although people in my generation tend to let their children do what's in their hearts, versus in my generation, I had to do what my father wanted me to do, which was help run one of the companies. But do you regret that, though? No, I do not. I do not, because somehow my personal inclinations were able to be lived out in certain aspects of the business, which I love, like marketing and sales and talking to people. But and your kids? And my kids are essentially. My son is involved in cinematography, in the creative field, and in the restaurant business. So in many respects, he helps us with some of our video content, and maybe little by little we can coax him into the business in a broader way. My daughter Martina, on the other hand, is a devout environmentalist. I mean, you know, I remember one time she gave me these
reusable bags for Christmas, and said, "Dad, whenever you shop, use these bags. Don't use plastic." And the last time we went shopping, I forgot the bags. And so she goes, "Dad, we're not putting those goods in a plastic bag."
Where did you put the goods?
Well, we wound up carrying them in our arms back to the car, right? And so that's an example of how passionate she is. And it's lovely because Martina is now heading up the Pioneer Adhesive Foundation, which we just opened. And she is doing a wonderful job spearheading environmentalism, education, and disaster relief, which are our advocacies. And she just finished a huge flagship project with the Boracay Foundation, and we were involved with restoring the coral reefs in Boracay. As a matter of fact, it was covered by ANC. And what went on there actually is one of our great products, epoxy clay, which is an epoxy that's in a moldable form like clay, is used to adhere broken corals onto rocks underneath the ocean. And guess what? These corals are able to take hold and actually flourish and grow.
Thank you so much for the inspirational message there. Thank you so much for joining us, John. Appreciate the time.
Lovely time. Thanks for being with me.